Good morning, Asean. Freshen up your world, your thought, and your idea with us every weekday from 7:30 to 8 a.m. I'm Patsurang Desha Putharangsi.
And I'm also here with you, Nirasha Malisaklami, and today is Wednesday, 5th of June 2013. Let's start with the beginning of the World Economic Forum, as hundreds of global leaders, industry, chiefs, and foreign media are gathering together in Naypyidaw as the Southeast Asian country showcase its political and economic reforms in a bid to entice the investment. Some 900 delegates from more than 50 countries will pour into Naypyidaw for the World Economic Forum on East Asia amid huge interest in Myanmar as it opens to the world after decades of isolation under military rule. Workers have been busily sprucing up the paintwork of the proposed built city's wide avenues as armed security forces stand guards outside its imposing the conference center ahead of the three-day event which starts today. The theme for this week's forum is Sharing Prosperity. Hundreds of hotel rooms are ready to welcome the influx of visitors to the sprawling capital, built in remote central Myanmar by the paranoid former generals. It is a change of pace for hotel staff more accustomed to smaller business and diplomatic delegations, as well as the occasional influx of Chinese investors. President Thein Sein's quasi-civilian government has astounded the international community since coming to power 2 years ago, with wide-ranging changes that have thrust Myanmar back onto the global stage. Hundreds of political prisoners have been freed, democracy champion Aung San Suu Kyi has been welcomed into a new parliament, and tentative ceasefires have been reached in the country's multiple ethnic civil wars. Thein Sein and Suu Kyi are both scheduled to address the forum tomorrow, and efforts have also been made to begin repairing the moribund economy, which is the currency was flooded last year. There are moves to give the central bank more independence, and a new foreign investment law has been passed. The lifting of most Western economic sanctions on the resource-rich country has attracted swarms of international businesses as well. Myanmar faces major hurdles, including an opaque legal framework, as well as a lack of basic infrastructure and government and private sector expertise. Several outbreaks of deadly religious violence have also cast a shadow over the reform process. A handout notice from the forum gives delegates some taste of the challenges facing the country, noting that there will be no cash machines for international customers, credit cards are not accepted, and the 3G network is not available for users of BlackBerry and other mobile phones. And for this, Myanmar will take the chairmanship of the Association for Southeast Asian Nations next year. Currently contributes only 0.2% of Asia's gross domestic product, according to a recent study by McKinsey Global Institute. It also warned that while the country has the potential to quadruple the size of its economy to to $200 billion by 2030, if it presses on with the reforms, there is also a major risk of disappointment.
Well, Myanmar is ticking a lot of boxes in terms of economic potential ahead of the WEF. But experts say that some investors must also consider that Myanmar should learn some lessons from Vietnam. Well, strategically, it is a logistical sweet spot between China and India and is rich in natural resources. New laws, including measures to allow 100% foreign ownership of companies in some sectors, show that politicians are open to foreign investment. But investors in Myanmar should heed lessons from Vietnam, which opened up to the world in a similar fashion 2 decades ago. The failure rate for early investors in that market may have been as high as 90%. And also, according to Chief Executive of Vina Capital, one of Vietnam's largest asset managers, Mr. Don Lam, said too much foreign capital chased too few potential partners or businesses with any track record. Also, there was too much focus on the impact of rising incomes on consumer goods sales. The outcome, Mr. Lam said, was a lot of investment in risky greenfield projects or Western-style consumer goods businesses that did not have a strong enough customer base for another decade. Foreign investment in Vietnam surged between 1988 and 1995, but began slowing markedly thereafter, partly because of high costs and poor infrastructure. According to the International Monetary Fund, while the Asian financial crisis squeezed foreign interest across the region in late 1990s, foreign investment was slower to recover in Vietnam than in neighboring countries. For Myanmar's potential, it could attract about $170 billion in capital inflows between now until 2030. And also, a healthy appetite among foreign investors would surely help transform the economy. But those who put money into Myanmar too soon may well find their first taste ultimately turn sour.
And since Myanmar is going through its reforming stage, of course, there's a lot of developments in the country to be done. And for this one, it's including the media sections. Let's have a look at this report by Khun Jarawi Kitisin.
Although the Myanmar press has recently enjoyed more freedom after vast reforms taking place and the abolishment of media censorship, more still has to be done to improve the capacity of journalists and deal with those who are ignoring the changes. Journalists in Myanmar, many from the younger generations, have become enthusiastic in covering news after the quasi-civilian government started easing restriction on the media since around 2011. Mon Yat, a Yangon-based freelance journalist, compared the recent changes of the media's situation back into 2007, when only foreign correspondents are allowed to cover political issues, but news coverage from the local media have to go through the censorship, which in all cases will not pass.
Before 2010, media censorship is a big issue in my whole country. But since, I think, 2011, started easing the media restriction, we have more freedom to write and to broadcast. But there's now new generation of journalists. They are, how can I say that, they are enjoying the freedom, press freedom. So they are everywhere. Whenever something happens in, fire or, flood or conflict in Arakan State, conflict in Metila, everywhere there.
Despite the clear progress in the media development, it remains that every opportunity has several challenges and difficulties. Although the system has entered stages of reform, some officials in state agencies have refused to adjust their old perceptions or accept the democratic transition.
First of all, we have to face some people or those have old thinking ways. So because they are familiar with old regime. So especially from government sides, because even though everybody know we are changed military government to civil government, they don't understand much about the role of media.
50 years, Myanmar has been under authoritarian rule, but now that all that has changed and it's going through transition towards democracy, one of the few problems that journalism will face is the skills and the development that journalists have to adapt with the changes and improve their skills.
It is more likely that there is a large vacuum within the specific skills required in the journalism industry. Various media companies in Myanmar are now seeking help from its neighbor, while training has also been offered from elsewhere. There is no doubt that more work needs to be done to improve journalism skills in the neighboring country, not to mention that there's the missing generation that had to weather the isolation period, who may also need to keep up with the evolving media trend and technology. Jurawi Grisin reports.
Coming up for one of the highest economic potentials in Myanmar Focus Daily. As I mentioned in the last break, one of the highest economic potential sectors is the construction and infrastructure. Let's take a look at Myanmar Focus Daily.
The emerging Myanmar has caught everyone's eyes, no matter where they are in the world. Untapped natural resources, strategic location, and a growing market of almost 60 million people attract from big conglomerates to small and medium-sized enterprises. Business experts suggest that a key to success in Myanmar market is to find right local business partners, and the easiest way to do would be joining business matching trip.
You mentioned about business matching, and
Yes.
Global Logistics has also offered business matching service
Yes.
under the
I2U Communication. This is our affiliated companies.
Okay. What potential? At which point did you decide to do the business matching in Myanmar?
Okay. I have to admit that even though my first trip to Myanmar, I also went under the support from the government, Department of Business Development. But I would say that after that, I also sent my staff attending few of the business matching trip arranging by few of the organization. But I would say that from business point of view, that kind of business matching is not a real business matching. It's just I would say a trip to see something, to have a very quick look into the Myanmar. And when you meet with the businessman from Myanmar, it's just a kind of exchange the name card. And those people who come to see you might not be the person that you would like to see. For example, when I go for the business matching trip for logistic provider, they invite a lot of people, and we don't have chance to really discuss about what are they doing, what we are doing, what we are expecting from them, something like that. So for our company, when we organize a business matching, we really find the right partner, the right company in Myanmar for our customer. We will ask our customer, who are you expecting to meet, what kind of products, what kind of product or service that you would like to offer into Myanmar, and we will find a potential partner in Myanmar that meet with your requirement. And because we have our partners in Myanmar, they also have a lot of connection with the business people, government sector. So before we arrange the business matching, there will be a lot of homework that we prepare for our customers, and they will have to tell us everything, and then we find the right partner. And when we organize the trip, we have one day for meeting with the business people, knowing a lot of things in Myanmar, and at the same time, at the half day, we organize a real business matching. We arrange a one-on-one table for you. The businessmen from Thailand and Myanmar, they come and meet and have chance to discuss what they are expecting from each other. So, and which I would say that the past 3 trips that we organized is quite successful.
Okay, business people who would like to enter Myanmar, are they mostly SMEs, and from what do they sell? Or?
I would say that our customer who go there ranging from multi-million companies and also SME as well. So I think it's the how to say, it's not related to what size of your companies, but it's related to whether or not you would like to go into the new market with new potential. I think that is the most important thing, because I would say that Myanmar within next 3 to 5 years, there will be a lot of new development, new potential, and there will be a growing market for Thailand, because they have 65 million people. That's the big one. I will say more or less the same as in Thailand, right?
Yes.
And comparing, we are talking a lot with AEC, right? AEC, but I think Myanmar is the biggest market apart from Thailand that everybody have to look at. Yeah.
The last trip was last year, and
this year.
Oh,
February.
Okay, in February.
Yeah.
From last trip to this upcoming trip. When is the upcoming trip?
Upcoming trip will be this coming July, on July 10 to 12.
The growing numbers of interested business people compare from last trip to this upcoming trip.
Okay, from our latest trip in February, this year we have about 50 companies from different sectors joining into this trip, which if comparing to our last trip in 2012, that represents almost 100% increase.
100% increase.
Because but I have to say that normally we not organize such a big trip. I think the best quantity of people who attending this kind of business matching trip should be about like 20 to 30, maximum 30. But our last trip was so successful because we were awarded by Board of Investment of Thailand and also Konkan University, the MBA program. they arranging a trading course for the Thai investor who would like to go to invest in other foreign countries. And then with this support from the Board of Investment and also the Konkan University, we have about 50 companies joining for this trip, which according to the survey after the trip, they also saying that our trip was one of the best among the 4 trips that they joined. Because the Board of Investment, they arranged to go to, apart from Myanmar, also to Indonesia, to Vietnam, and South Africa. And the participants who participate in the other trip, they also say that what I2U has arranged is, they feel that it's very useful and beneficial to their companies.
Okay, from the past 3 trips, how many business people have already done business with Myanmar partner?
Okay, I would say that from what we know, there are more than almost 6-7 companies already starting doing business with Myanmar. One company is in the printing products, and they already decided to set up their own factory in Myanmar because they saw a vast opportunity on the labor, because printing is labor intensive. And then they said that they used to also establish a factory in Laos. Laos, the wage very low, but Laos only have 5 million people. It's very hard to find the workers. So now with Myanmar 65 million, they say big potential. So they already decided they will set up a factory over there. We have one company being the distribution of construction material in Thailand, and they also have the aim to expand their product into neighboring country. So within first trip that they joined, they got one first order, 120-foot container already.
Already?
Yeah, for the first trip. So I am very happy to hear about that. And also the other company, for example, is doing the lighting equipment. They went with us for the first trip, and second trip they also joined again. And then with the second trip, they also asked us to arrange a private business matching to visit a lot of distributors to see the real shop of each distributor. And finally, he already appointed exclusive distributor in Myanmar as well. This is just a few of the example from our customer who attending our business matching, and all of them, they are happy. They also say the same, that our business matching trip is different from others organization.
Yeah. Okay, products or in which sector that still have like big vast potential?
Of course, because there will be a lot of new development. I think construction material, a lot of big potential. You don't need to worry that the big company already there, because the big company with their size, they also have some kind of obstacle, right? So, for example, our customer who went there, they also already the distributor of the leading construction material in Thailand. And when they would like to go there, the mother company said, "Oh, no need, we're already there." So you don't have to go there. But after they went there, they still get the first order. So that shows that there will be a lot of potential. I think in Myanmar, what I heard is that the law about the tax over there is very strict. So people may try to find a way to do the business at their own benefit. So I think there will be a lot of potential. Construction material, consumer products. I think also wearing apparel. If you go there, you see a lot of wearing apparel. The counter that they set up exactly the same in Thailand. Yeah. So I think that's a big potential. They're saying that actually Myanmar people, there's still a lot of rich people, but it depends on whether or not they would like to spend or not. So I think construction material, consumer products, wearing apparel, that will be growing.
One major advantage of the business matching would be an opportunity to meet with the real local business people and form business connections, as know-who is still very important in Myanmar society. VIETNAMESE reporting for Myanmar Focus Daily.
That's it for today's today's edition of Good Morning ASEAN. We'll see you again same time, same place, same channel.
From 7:30 to 8 a.m. every weekdays. I'm Nirasha Malisak Lamia.
And I'm Patsurang Desha Putarang Si. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ